So it's like Christianity. You have to think, okay, the same way you're talking about, okay, the Islamic and the slavery and whatnot. I'm from Jamaica. And I know what happened in my country. And it wasn't by Islam.
Because
listen to me. Okay. I never live under no Islamic. Look, hold on.
Yeah,
I never live under no Islamic. Hold on, man. Nobody gonna tell me what I go through or what I didn't go through.
I didn't say that, and I didn't deny that. I said your experience does not reflect what is in the Bible. So, would you like someone calling you and me and all your Caribbean people?
Sorry, I would embrace him
if he's called you a raisin head.
And make the wildest, most horrible accusations.
So let me ask you this question. How come now we've got extremists in the past going on, even though within the past we had people like Abdul Hakim, had Abu Qasim and many others, and I've never ever heard him once condemn them. But the non-Muslims, he seems to be very forthright in calling them extremists, page agents, hate preachers and so forth. I find that a very wide disparity.
I've asked you a direct question.
Yes.
Because you know Adnan. You know Adnan, don't you?
I know who he is.
Right. Do you believe
that
Adnan is a terrorist sympathizer?
Is he a terrorist sympathizer? I believe he displays.
See how difficult this is to answer?
No, because
you see how difficult.
Yeah, because I'm going to give an honest answer. I could say yes, but that's not a straightforward answer. I don't believe he's a terrorist recruiter or something like that. But I believe he has some sort of ideology where he doesn't condemn like people who sometimes display extremist views, and I find that a disparity.
That's not why I asked you.
Yeah, you said is he?
No, that's not true either.
Yes.
But I asked you, do you think Adnan is a terrorist sympathizer and he's turning a blind eye and accepts terrorism against innocent people?
Well, within the park, I believe he displays actions that would bring rise to that opinion.
He should become a politician.
No, but it's the truth, because I don't know him personally to say that for yes or no. But I'm saying based on his actions.
The reason why you're struggling so much.
No, if I was struggling, I would say yes.
Yeah, the reason why you're struggling
I would say yes if I wanted to lie. I would say yes.
The answer to that is no.
No, it's not no.
That is the thing.
No, it's not no. But that's what I'm saying. If I've been disingenuous, I'll say yes straight away.
This is the sort of tactics now.
No, but the thing is,
these are the sort. It's not new. These are exactly the same tactics.
So how come?
That have always been used.
Okay, so let me ask you this question: how come Paul Williams was ostracised when he went to condemn Abu Hakim?
I'm not going to discuss.
All right. You see?
Let me finish.
All right.
I'm not going to discuss.
All right.
What disagreements we make.
Who's giving the politician answers now?
Am I going to finish?
Am I
going to finish? I'm not going to publicly discuss what disagreements we may have with a brother with his particular strategy. According,
you went onto a live stream with Jordan M and discussed for the whole world to see. Isn't that hypocrisy?
In relation to
you went on a live stream to discuss that.
To clarify.
But you said you would only do it in private. But you went on a live stream that everyone's watching.
You asked me to make specific things now, and I'm not going to do that. I was speaking directly.
But you asked me specifically about Adnan. I tried to answer honestly.
I spoke just specifically with Brother Paul on that live stream.
Well, this is the thing. Everyone can see. Everyone in the public can see your disingenuous answers.
That was my conversation with him, and I'm not going to discuss what should have been done, who should have said what,
well,
who is right and who's
wrong.
Because
for me, your actions will condemn yourself. That's why I don't need to throw labels like Adnan, who calls people hate preachers, Islamophobes, paid agents, extremists, and so forth. That doesn't come out of my mouth because
with that.
No,
and you had to do a tit for tat.
Speaker's Corner,
and you have to get
we
back
can
to him.
expose people
so
for their hypocrisy.
So you have to make stuff up.
What have I made up?
Anyway, I'm going to end the conversation.
Well, the whole public can see.
What happened there, big boy?
Well, clearly we see the hypocrisy from the Islamic Dawah side, and they don't want to talk to people like us because they know we expose their hypocrisy.
Exactly, all the time.
Because asking simple questions, you asked me if Adnan is a extremist sympathiser or terrorist sympathiser, and I won't say condemn him to say yes or no, but I said he displays actions which calls his own words into question. But then when we're asking similar questions about Paul Williams being ostracised, there's no answer. Oh, we'll do it in private. What's that?
Private. Is that private?
Different. I can have a dialogue, but then when the question, it's easy for you to throw the questions, but when the questions are asked back, you can't answer them.
Christians turning the other cheek. This is how they behave.
He called out people for their hypocrisy. He called out the Pharisees for their hypocrisy. He said on the outside they look nice, but on the inside they are like venomous snakes. There's no slander. I haven't used any slanderous claim. But I watched your live stream and I listened to what you said. And you said people like me are opportunists that want to kind of jump on opportunities. But yet, I've never heard you condemn any of the Islamic extremists. No, because you're coming and asking me questions. You're asking me questions. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you're standing up. You're trying to be the bigger man. You're trying to be this kind of impartial person. But then you're highlighting your own hypocrisy. That's what you should do.
He's lying for the sake of
And we even had earlier on Hamza saying that the apostasy law is not applicable today. That's a straight up lie.
Wow.
No. Hamza. I spoke to Hamza earlier on. But this is clearly we see there the deception of the Islamic Dawah team. They spit lies and lies and lies, and they try and come out with this liberal kind of narrative. But it's easily debunked when you ask them a question. Then they say, "Oh, we don't want to discuss with you, DCCI, or we'll discuss in private." But
what's happened to you, Paperboy? You used to be such a nice, gentle fellow. What's happened?
Well,
we need to expose the.
You seem to have become like
more. Well, you have to. I mean, the thing is, the more you spend at this park, the more you see the tactics and the displays of insincerity from certain people, and you have to then kind of be more prominent in getting answers from them. And
very good,
I believe I'm doing a public service, not just to the Christian faith, but to the British community, to hold these people into account. You know, it's stuff like the extremism with Adnan. This is all brushed under the carpet. But ultimately, I value my Britishness and my part I play within this British community. And I believe that's my Christian values drive this. So I will call out things like extremism or things that I feel are underhand tactics from the Dawah team in terms of...
This is not the Paperboy that I knew.
Well, sometimes, Christ teaches us that we should love our neighbours as we love ourselves. But there were times he called people hypocrites, he flipped over temples, he beat people, he whipped people when the time was necessary. And I think everything that I do, there's a time for every action.
There's a season, yeah.
Exactly. There's a season for everything, and it depends on who you're dealing with. If I'm dealing with a genuine person, I won't talk to them as I will with the Dawah team, because 90% of what they say are lies, and then you have to expose them for it. But they try and use intellectualism to kind of fool people. But I see through what they're doing.
You were one of the most benign, gentle sort of people in the park.
Yeah.
You were known for it.
Yeah.
And what's happened now is, and the thing is that you would actually listen to people and you'd use like a Socratic dialogue. If you saw a flaw in their argument, then you'd use your
Hey, come back then. What do you like to run away from?
It depends on who
you're
it
using
is.
epistemology to actually...
Well, I think depends on, as I say, depends on the people. If they're genuine, then I will I prefer having conversations and dialoguing, but I will confront people. And I don't do it even when I confront people, I still listen to their points. I'm not someone that will overtalk someone and not let them not listen to what they're saying. For example, people like Adnan, if you listen to what he says, he doesn't actually listen to people, he just overtalks them and tries to win the argument by theatrics, which is not what I try and do. I will, be bold. The Bible says we should be as gentle as doves, but as wise as serpents. So that's the kind of tactic I approach to the Dawah team. And the Bible also says, don't answer a fool according to his folly unless he appears wise in his own eyes. No, sorry, let me say that again. It says, answer a fool according to his folly unless he appears wise in his own eyes. So basically what it's saying is that sometimes you have to approach people in a way that they understand, so they don't feel that they're wiser than you.
So you meet them at their level.
Exactly. But it also says, don't answer a fool according to his own folly unless you appear a fool just like them. So you have to be careful in terms of how you approach them. Like if people are just shouting stupidity, I won't engage on that level, otherwise I'll look like an idiot myself. But I will approach them with the same arguments, and this is what I did with Adnan. I looked at the reasoning he was using to accuse people of extremism and using that same approach and argument against him. And it highlighted the hypocrisy of what he was saying against other people. And that, as well with the Bible as well, you see a lot of Christians doing the same thing with when a Muslim reads the Bible in a certain way. We'll read the Quran in the same way and expose the argument that you're trying to use to refute Christianity. And I think that's the best way. For example, Muslims will say, where did Jesus say I'm God? Therefore, their argument would be that means Jesus isn't God. But then I'll ask them, where did Jesus say I'm a prophet? But they believe Jesus is a prophet, but he never said that. So just because someone doesn't say something, it doesn't mean that they're not what they are professing to be. Because we look at their other words and their actions and then look at it in totality. So I think from being here, I've learned how the Dawah team act and respond to things, and I've just kind of become acclimatized to that.
That's a shame. That is a shame, because the thing is I believe that I know nothing and I'm a fool, right? But the thing is that for me it's a shame, because in the past your previous
Dialogue.
was so gentle that anyone would talk to you, their guard wouldn't be up, and you'd actually have quite an interesting exchange of ideas and do exactly what you've just described there. But it seems that you're becoming a lot more confrontational, and I have no right to say that, and maybe I'm wrong.
Let's use the EDF Dawah team. Why do you think they don't talk to me?
Because I think we probably give them a pretty good run for their money.
Well,
because I think you might actually highlight contradictions.
Well, and that's the thing. So they also like to use bully tactics on unlearned Christians.
And that works both ways, because this is my first time.
Yes.
And I've watched things on YouTube.
Yes.
And I tell you, the Christians don't come across very well. Some of the Muslims also doesn't come across. This is I said, I've heard about this place. It's the first time I've come up, and I've watched a lot on YouTube. You know, the guy you was talking to, and I see them, and that lady. No, he comes. But what I'm saying is just attack.
That's not his way, is it?
No, I'm not saying it's his way. I'm talking about because he's very articulate. He doesn't always answer the questions sometimes. No, but this is it. If someone asks you a question, you answer it, whether you're right or wrong. If you're wrong, and then the person corrects you, then you've learned something. And it shouldn't be whether you're a Christian or he's a Muslim, because it's like saying we are black and he is white. So it's like Christianity. You have to think, okay, the same way you're talking about, okay, the Islamic and the slavery and whatnot. I'm from Jamaica. And I know what happened in my country, and it wasn't by Islam. I remember when, turn this away, we are going with. Put it on him. Sorry. No,
see, that was very forthright. You see, you've been here very 10 minutes, and you've become what you've.
No. But what I'm saying, because I came here at 65, and I remember when I come, we weren't allowed in the church.
Okay.
So what are you saying? Those people who
you came where in here in this country in 65, and you weren't allowed in the church.
Why do you think there's black churches now? What did I tell you? Okay, so were they Christians or not Christians?
That I can't speak for. I don't know. But if they let me finish.
Where your parents?
Let me finish. My parents are from Ghana. But if they did, that wouldn't have been a very Christian thing to do. But I can accept
you've heard
that
of it
did.
though.
I actually haven't heard in terms of churches. I'm in my 30s.
Okay. So you speak to your parents. Speak to your parents, because you heard what happened when they first came here and they were nurses.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, my parents actually came in the Windrush generation.
Yes, right. So when they came and they were nurses, what happened?
There was a lot of discrimination and stuff like that.
And who were the people that was doing it?
It was the British people.
Okay. And what religion did they practice?
They were Christians.
I wouldn't say they were Christians.
No,
because
but
Christianity doesn't teach you.
No,
that.
yeah, but of course, that's the point I was going to get to. But in terms of what they would profess to be Christians. But then there's a difference between what the Christianity teaches you, because it teaches you, there's no Jew, no Gentile. We shouldn't discriminate based on colours, so to speak. So that was a British society, an issue with British society. You used to have the signs, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish and stuff like that. So, but yeah. The church part I've not heard before, but I take it as
This is the fact. This is why a lot of black churches started to form, because even in after slavery, don't forget it was partition.
Yeah.
And if you're saying you don't know, because you're 30, well you're 30. My daughter is older than you. Oh my gosh. What do they call you, Paperboy? Paperboy.
Well, because I discuss from the Christian point of view, and Jesus brought the Gospels.
You do discuss very well, though.
Thank you.
No, you do. You do.
Well, that's what I believe Speaker's Corner should be, dialogue. And I try to keep to that. But sometimes, depending on who you're engaging with, you sometimes, because what they want to do is overpower you, so you can't talk, then sometimes you have to then do like for like to kind of get your point across. But someone like you or whoever, I prefer to have a dialogue so people can listen and learn, because when it's shouting matches, no one can understand what's going on.
Well, the defense goes up and then nobody's receiving anything.
Yeah, so it depends on who you're talking to, and I feel like a lot of the Islamic Dawah team in this part.
So I ask you a question. If you're having a discussion with someone, like me, myself, if I'm having a discussion with someone and I see they don't want to listen, then I stop.
Yeah.
Because your brain is acting like a firewall.
Yeah.
So you're sending a message, and so why don't you stop?
Because for me, I think because if videos going to go on YouTube, my primary
so other people can
learn. Like that's my thing. I want people to listen and learn, even if it's just from my responses or whatnot. Because what's your belief system?
My belief system?
Yeah, what do you believe in?
Well, my wife's Christian.
Okay.
My children are Christian.
Okay.
My mum's a Christian. My father was a Christian. Everybody's a Christian apart from me.
Because
I became a Muslim.
You became a Muslim?
Yeah.
Based on what?
Well, what I saw what happened in the church, see how Christians behave. But when I came to the country, there were certain things I couldn't get my head around.
Okay.
And you've had discussions about it. And this has nothing to do with Muslim, because I could have been Muslim years ago, but I fought against it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get my head around this Jesus is God.
Okay.
And then when I asked the priest, please don't have me on there, okay. And when I asked the priest about, he says, "Oh, you're a problem trying to blah blah blah." I said, "No, you're there to ask the question."
Yeah.
That was I always believed that there is a God.
Yeah.
But I never believed Jesus, and even up to today, I could never get because the way it's explained that he's a man.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to be beside somebody? At the end, is he going to be? Because I don't really read the Bible that way. I'm starting to read the Bible now. Is he going to sit beside somebody?
Well, the Bible says like he'll be beside the Father.
Right. So if you're going to be, now I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to be beside this gentleman, then that means this person
isn't. Yeah.
Maybe I've got it wrong. I don't know. But this is always my kind of thinking.
Okay. So, in terms of me being at the park, now my reason, as I said, to explain to people is for people like yourself, because I believe many people leave the church because sometimes they're not getting the questions answered that are genuine questions, and that's where sometimes the church is failing people, and then people come up with other doctrines, theories, religions that kind of sway people into what their belief system. But I think the questions and answers are within Christianity, but it requires the right people to always be able to explain it. So going back to the point about black people, in terms of, you said the way that turned you off the church, but then I would say, even with Islam, you have that same problem, because, for example,
the human factor.
Well, yeah, you have, and
because nowhere in Christianity.
Because remember, you had the Arabic slave trade, which lasted far longer and was far worse than the
This is what
transatlantic
turned me
slave
off of
trade.
Islam, because I was saying, no, I'm not going to do Christianity because of the slave trade, and I wasn't going to go into Islam because
Yeah.
of the same thing. But when
Where
I
they
looked
used to
at it,
castrate black people as well.
now the question is, were they Arabs or were they Muslim? That's a big difference, because it's like, for me, when I started to read more, especially about the Quran and Muslims and whatnot, and I started to read the Bible, then I looked at the slavery and I looked at it differently. I'm thinking, no, it wasn't the Christians.
Yeah.
It was people that professed to be Christians.
Yes. I agree. But then
So-
then you have a problem still, even because we then, for example, we'll go back to the Christ. But if we go back to Muhammad, even Muhammad had black slaves. And we have their stories where he traded 2 black slaves for 1 non-black slave.
But you
which,
can't compare that slavery
Yes.
to what happened in the 16th and 17th century.
yes,
Because
but
one
that's
thing-
where it stemmed from.
But the thing I like about Islam, since I've embraced it and I've started to study, I'm not a scholar or anything like that. At least in Islam, the companions, they're Africans or something in there. In Christianity, where are we?
Okay.
Now,
What
this
do you
is-
think Adam was?
Huh?
What do you think Adam was? Let's start from the beginning. What do you think Adam was?
Do you think? was
Yeah,
it
you said where?
colour?
Yeah.
Well, I've never actually asked myself what colour he was.
Built from the clay, the mud. What colour is the mud?
Well, different. You got different colours.
And where was it? What continent?
Africa.
So what do you think Adam would have been?
So like, oh, Adam. So yes. Because the first man is African, and the first woman is African. So if that's the case, then for how many centuries has Christianity portrayed it the other way?
Yeah, but to see, what you have to realize is because we see, for example, a white Jesus, and that's only because it's been Europeanized.
Right.
If we go to Ethiopia, we will see Christ as a black man.
Yeah.
Because it's people generally portray. You can go to, China or Japan, and Christ will be portrayed. So what we have picked up is more of a Europeanized, just
Right,
because
Western, yes.
because obviously Christ would not have been a Caucasian person.
Right.
So the whole white thing is just more because when Christianity was spreading and they started to kind of recreate images of Christ, they just portrayed him as looking as themselves, because people are generally more receptive to someone that looks like yourself. And that's why if we go to Ethiopia, the Coptics, we'll see like many images of a black Jesus and such and such. But then just not moving off the topic of the slavery, because we now see that Muhammad himself, he owned slaves, which is where it stems from, that whole.
But in Christianity, they own slaves.
Yes.
They actually contribute and actually finance the slave trade.
Yes.
The kings of this country who were
But then
Christians.
what you would have to
Charles,
do.
The Royal African Company,
Yes.
they did it.
But then let's differentiate, because we're looking at Christ versus Muhammad, the starting point.
Yes.
So now Muhammad,
Yeah.
I can bring up the hadith. For example, there's a hadith where
Now, when you say you bring up the hadith,
yes, the Sunnah,
the Sunnah, I understand that, and the Quran. Have you
Yes.
read the Quran?
not in totality.
Right. So one thing I don't like, if you haven't read something, you cannot comment about it because you're being unfair. That's why I never comment about the Bible, because I've read bits and pieces. Obviously, I've grown up with bits
Yes.
and pieces, so I cannot. I don't.
So do you believe in Nazism?
Huh?
What's your view on Nazism?
Well, according to how history has portrayed it, it's very nice.
But you haven't read any of the.
I don't have to read.
Why not?
Because there's documents. There's
Okay.
actually films about it.
Okay,
Now,
but that's going against
no,
what you said,
no,
because
no.
you said you cannot critique something unless you've read it. So
Yeah, but-
what you're seeing
what you're
could be a
doing is-
misrepresentation
no,
of
you're
what.
saying
Yes,
is like
Mein Kampf.
the Quran. Now, if you don't read the Quran, how can you comment about it? How can I say this and this about the Bible if I haven't read it? I haven't opened it up and actually understood it.
Yeah, because you can read elements of it and question it,
No.
and if someone, because you can read the Bible
It's like
from back to
knowing-
front,
It's like you just met me and
Yeah.
you're going to say, oh, you know me.
but you could read the Bible from the back to the front, and you still wouldn't understand it.
That is perfectly true.
So
That is
reading
perfectly-
is not always
Exactly. Maybe you
What-
need somebody who's more of a scholar to help you.
yes. So
But you're still, so my thinking, this is why I refuse to make comment about Islam and Christianity, because I didn't really practice Christianity.
but now, for example, you follow Prophet Muhammad, and we follow Christ. Now, Christ is someone
You say
who's,
I follow Muhammad.
well, if you're a Muslim,
No, I follow him.
yeah, but you,
He's a prophet.
as
He's
a,
a gu-
yeah, it
yes.
says you follow the Quran and the Sunnah. So the
And I
Sunnah
fo-
is of the
and
Prophet.
and we follow Jesus.
Well, not the
No,
the real Jesus, the Islamic.
That's another discussion.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
real Jesus, because you're
Because
saying
Cro-
that he's God and everything. But
Yes.
we're saying that he's not God.
Yes. So, for example, let me ask you this question:
Yeah.
what makes you believe Muhammad is a prophet?
To me,
Yeah. What? Okay, two questions. Lee. What makes you? What brought you to Islam?
Islam, okay.
And what makes you think Muhammad is a prophet? Like
the first thing that brought me to Islam was my mum.
your
Even
mum.
though she's a
Okay.
Christian, because as I said before, I was always against Islam. And then a brother said to me before he went home, he said, look, here's the Quran, here's the Bible, read it. Now, because I was looking after my mum, I couldn't get to do, all I could do was reading. I'm reading the Bible, I'm reading the Quran, and I started to gravitate towards the Quran. It appealed to me more. Then I started to read the Bible, and it started to make more sense. Certain prejudice I had against Christians, it started to fade. And I started to look at things correctly, thinking, no, just because this man did something doesn't mean that he's a Christian, because his behavior is not that of a Christian when you read what Jesus says. That's how I started to, and then when I started to find out for myself, because the guy said to me, "Are you ready? You don't drink, you don't do this and whatnot. You're Muslim." So I said, "What is a Muslim?" And he explained to me. He says, "Do you want to take a shot?" I said, "What's that?" And he told me. I said, "Well, I believe there is one God." But I said, "Who is this Muhammad?" So he said, "Look, take this book." And I read the book and I researched on Muhammad and whatnot, and then, alhamdulillah, I became a Muslim, because certain things appeal to you. Because of my training in the martial arts and whatnot, I studied Zen.
Okay.
I studied all these kind of things because I thought something was lacking in Christianity. Because if something wasn't lacking to me, I'm not saying there's something in Christianity is lacking, I wouldn't be searching. It's like you have a woman, and if you're satisfied with your woman, you won't be out there searching. If something's not being done at home, you search.
Okay. So,
But as regards to Muhammad as a prophet,
Yeah.
there are certain things that are pointed towards him being a prophet.
such as
But you're asking someone who's just become a Muslim
recently. Okay.
recently.
So, because
Go on.
the reason was
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of contrast between Christ and the teachings of Muhammad. So, for example, this is the Quran 98:6. And it says, "Indeed, they who disbelieved amongst the people of the scripture and the polytheists
Yeah.
will be in fire of hell, abiding eternally therein. Those are the worst of creatures." Now, Christ came with a message of love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Be careful, because he also came with the sword as well.
In what sense did he come with the sword?
Does it not say that he come with the sword in the Bible?
And I'm going. In
No,
what
no,
context?
No. Again,
Yeah.
this is what I see. When you talk to a Muslim, you take
Yeah.
it like that is the literal thing, and then when it comes to Christian,
Yeah.
you're talking about one context. It's like the double
Yeah,
standard.
I can read I'll read the verse for you, because I just wanted to see if you understood the context, and we can both look at the context, because Christ saying he came to bring the sword doesn't, because you may hear sword and think it's some
Well,
sort
people
of
contribute the sword to Islam, and it doesn't say also in the Quran. They contribute many things to
Okay.
Islam, and it doesn't say in the Quran.
So let's go to Matthew.
And where is this
10:34.
source coming from as well?
Yeah, the Quran. I'll give you all the references. So we'll look at the compare what Jesus said and what Muhammad said.
So Matthew 10:34. So Christ says, "Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's enemies will be those of his household. Whoever loves the father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves the son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life will, for my sake, find it."
From a Christian perspective,
Yes.
what does that mean then?
So this is saying, and I just use the last parts, and then I'll explain. It says, "Whoever loves."
No. When it talked about the sword,
Yeah. So this encompasses what the beginning is, and I'm gonna then explain. "Whoever loves the father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever does not take
me
his..."
talking about God.
Yeah. If
Right,
Jesus
so
is
that
God.
means, I want to try to make sure, that means what he's saying, who we should love first is God.
Yes.
Then everybody else, parents, okay.
Yes.
Right.
"And whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for me, for my sake, will find it." So now, for example, we see many situations where, even for example, honor killings, even with Islam, or even other religions as well, with some Asian, even African religions, where someone may take religion, let's say you become a Christian, but that's going to set you against your family. You understand? That's what Christ is saying. Whoever accepts me, the burden is potentially that you will be set apart from your family. You'll be in conflict, because what he says here at the beginning is, where is it? "And a person's enemy means will be those of his own household."
Yes. I
So when he
understand
says, "I've come to bring a sword," he's not saying he's come to kill people, but he's saying in terms of he's come to bring division, in the sense that when you find the truth, not everyone's going to like the truth, and they're going to reject you for the truth.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better to say he didn't come to bring to division, but it's going to cause it?
Well, but that's in his. That's why I read the whole
right,
context,
okay.
and he kind of explains more of what the context is saying. So if you just look at, he came to bring a sword, but actually when you read the rest, it tells you what he's talking about. There will be enemies within the household.
Okay.
And then he goes on further, people will be thrown out like to their enemies by their own family, like people will be stoned and killed and whatnot for his name. So he's saying, Christ says, you don't go out and build a house without kind of counting the costs. So Christ is warning the people, this is what it entails. Like you look at Christianity, early Christianity, you had the martyrs.
As I said to you, me and Christianity don't sit very well.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. But that's what I'm saying when Christ said.
Because as I said, there's more churches in Jamaica than anywhere else.
Yes, that's fine.
As I said, no.
But,
so as I said, when I came to the country, and this was supposed to be an English country.
Yeah.
And then when you go to church and the people then looking on you funny, I'm thinking, hang on, this is what I said. This is why a lot of the black churches separate.
But this is the thing. What you have to do is not reject Christ because of what the church does.
I'm not saying I've never rejected Christ.
Okay, Christianity.
Well, Christianity to me is just
but not based on the Bible says the people are the church.
No, right. As we said, you see, when I talk about Christianity, I will talk from an African perspective.
Okay.
Because an African, or people like us, we know, because you know what, we will go through trial and tribulation, and we will hug the enemy. But you have certain people, they can't even forget what happened in the First and Second World War.
But just going back to what your prophet said as well, that the Jews and the Christians are the worst of mankind. Now, is that do you see me and this person and this person as the worst of mankind?
No, not say this and this person. As I said, I don't know you.
Yes.
Not because you're a Christian, I'm going to just start labeling you. No, I only met you 2 minutes.
But this is what your Quran is instructing you to believe.
No, that's not what my Quran is instructing us to do.
Yes.
Because you can take certain things. So are you telling me all the atrocities that happened to my people and other people, those people that confess to be Christian, they weren't Christians?
Can I ask, when you say...
Hold on.
No, but I just want to clarify.
No. I'm talking to this
Who are your
gentleman
people?
here.
Yeah, say it again.
Say what?
Repeat the question.
Right. Now I lost my chain of thought. What did I say now?
Your people be persecuted.
No, I'm talking about West Indian black people,
That's what I
Africans.
was asking, if
yeah.
it's Muslims
That's-
or
yeah,
West Indians.
no, because as I said, because
Yeah.
you said something about what happened with Islam slavery, and I said that was different.
Yeah.
As I said, it's not Christians that enslave. Anyone that tells me now, before thinking, but anybody that tells me now that it was Christians that enslaved, I would say no. It was people that pretended to be. But also, it's the same with the Muslims. It wasn't the Muslim, it was the Arabs.
Yeah.
Because you have Arabs who are also pagans.
Yeah.
But as I said to you, when I look in Christianity from a Western point of view, and all their art, I don't see, in heaven, I don't see myself.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing of me. Why is that? But in Islam, you have companions. The mother of Muhammad when he passed, who was it that gave him milk? It was an African. And it's there in the history books. Hang on. It's there in the history books, their history books. Now, from a Western point of perspective, when it comes to Christianity, we're not.
But I think you have
Go ahead.
taken a very warped view of understanding of Islamic history. But before we jump on that, I just want to again press you on
I have to go soon anyway. But
Okay.
listen,
Because,
I never live on. Listen to me. I
Okay.
never live under no Islamic. Look, hold on.
Yeah,
I
but
never
remember,
live. I never live under no
remember,
Islamic. Hold on, man.
Remember, I was responding
May I
to
talk?
what you were
I'm
saying.
trying to talk.
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying
remember,
to-
I was responding to you spoke, and then I was
Okay.
responding. So
Sorry,
that's
sorry.
why I just wanted to make my statement, because if you've got to go, because the thing of what I want to say is
No,
that,
it's my first time up here.
is that there are many. I've got the evidence on me. For example, where your prophet condemned black people, he called them raisin heads. Two, he had two black slaves.
Don't forget Christianity. Don't forget,
but this is-
Christianity also
Yeah.
financed this.
But this is the difference. You have rejected Christianity because of this, but then your prophet, who is supposed to be the best of mankind, is doing these things. So there's a difference between Christians who are doing these things and they're not doing it in a Christian way versus your prophet.
I will look up this about the prophet because
Okay,
where you get information
let me give you the
from.
references,
Yeah.
and then you can look into it. And there was a one where he said he saw a black woman and it said basically you've seen the devil.
Don't forget what Jesus said when the woman came to the dog. Don't forget about that.
No, he likened Iblis to a black man that he knew. He said if you want to know what Iblis looks like, he looks exactly like this guy.
Yeah, so let me just find the reference.
Be
He said
careful,
that black
you're
people
too much
are
of a
created
legend.
Separately from
Yeah,
white people.
yeah. Huh?
How come I'm a legend?
Because I think because
He's asking me a question because this is my first time up here. Hold on.
like Islam
and I
has
study
been
everything on YouTube.
Islam has been far more
and as I say to him,
Islam has
hold
been-
on, and I say to him,
Voila.
no, I look at everything, and I was saying to him that sometimes both the Christians and the Muslims doesn't come across correctly, and I'm very good. I'm from the street, so when I see somebody, I know if they're interested in coming to preach the word or not.
Okay.
And then I see certain people, he's good. He knows how to conduct himself, but people avoid questions.
It's quite a specific kind of arena though, like compared to the street or church or mosque.
No, it's the same.
No. Here is specific, like there's a character to this place, the way people address each other that they wouldn't necessarily do in a cafe afterwards. Do you see what I'm saying? People get aggressively...
No, this is not aggressive.
You've not seen the fights on the videos?
This is not aggressive.
Not compared to the street, but
this
compared
is
to a
not
civil
this is not aggressive
conversation.
because, as I said, don't have that camera on me,
It's
No,
on
yeah,
me
just me.
always at all
Yeah, so this
times.
is the first one. This is Bukhari. Make it bigger.
What's the reference? Say the reference, I'll put it on screen.
So this is Sahih Bukhari, 693. The Prophet said, "Listen and obey,
your chief, even if an Ethiopian whose head is like a raisin were made your chief. Now, if you have a problem with Christ's words, why would you say and remember, Ethiopians were black people in those days, to say whose head is like a raisin. Now, if anyone come up to you and said your head like a raisin, you'll go and box him one time.
Why you say that? Is it because I'm black you say that I would box him?
So would you like someone calling you and me and
I would
all your
embra-
Caribbean
oh,
people?
sorry, I would embrace him.
If he's called you a raisin head?
I would embrace him.
Yeah?
Sounds a bit Christian.
You would embrace him. Why would you embrace him?
Because he's not what I'm supposed to do.
What,
Embrace him,
According-
turn the other cheek.
Not according
Christianity.
not according
No,
to Islam. Can you,
It's prescribed for you to fight, and Allah knows best. Even if
fight?
you that's what Allah says. And even if you don't want to fight, Allah surely knows what's best for you. And you will fight until there are no more disbelievers.
so this is Sahih Bukhari 693.
So hold it.
So, listen, I'm gonna have to.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, and let me
Nice
just give you the
movement.
last reference before you go. This one is Sunan and Nisai 4184.
Let me just get Paperboy in the shop because I'm not getting inside.
Four eight, 1 4.
No, 4184. And that's Sunan
Yeah, I got that. Whoops.
4184.
No,
And it says, a slave came and pledged to the Prophet to emigrate, and the Prophet did not realize that he was a slave. Then his master came looking for him. The Prophet said, sell me to him, and he brought him for 2 black slaves. Then he did not accept the pledge from anyone until he asked him, is he a slave? So why would a slave come, then your Prophet gives him 2 black slaves?
Let me look into it
Okay.
because I want to find out if that's what it really means. As I
Okay.
said, I don't look at something
That's
and,
fine.
And just comment.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to
Okay.
take my words wholeheartedly. I'm saying
Yeah.
go and research.
Fact check
If you're here
yourself,
next
exactly,
week,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to be? I don't know if you're
No,
here
no,
next
no,
week.
because I said I normally, that's why I'm Russian, I normally look after my mum. So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. But if you're-
I saw this opportunity to say,
Yeah.
let me come up.
If you're down here, just
Yeah,
research these things because there's many more references.
Okay.
If you will go on Soko Films, I'll try and put some references in the
Yeah, I'll put it in the
description.
screen. I'll put it in the screen as well.
so you can have a look at those references for
Yeah.
yourself. There's more, and you'll see these are the things that led up to the the Islamic, the Arabic slave trade, because these were prejudices built in from even from the time of the Prophet. This anti-black.
No, this was built before, yes, before.
No,
this
because
is a-
even the Prophet said that
No.
a black man is going to destroy the Kaaba.
No, but what I'm saying, the slave was before Muhammad in Arabia.
Yeah, but we're talking about the denigration of black people. Because if your prophet was as great as you say, then he should have been arguing against these things and liberating the black, not saying 2 black slaves for 1 normal
You can say
person.
the same for Christianity.
Black.
Because
Remember,
between-
we follow,
hang
unless
on.
it's in the Bible,
No. But-
not what people were doing.
Right, but there was in the Bible,
Yeah.
but no priest, no clergyman stood up. Now they're saying no, they should have said something.
But can you show me in the Bible where it denigrates black
No.
people?
Whether it says it in the Bible, what I'm saying that none of the churches spoke up against it.
But the church,
Yeah, they
remember,
did.
No,
They did in the
they did.
Bible.
No.
Yep, they
None of the
did.
churches,
Served
no,
6 years, paid
none of
them,
the
and
churches
then
here
Yeah.
or in Europe.
but we don't.
Because, as I said to you,
Slavery.
Yeah.
even in, pardon?
but
Britain was
but wait, there's
Britain
see
was
what you're doing,
instructional
but what you're doing,
in
you're-
ending
No.
But
slavery,
what
and
you're
those were
doing is
Christians who
comparing
did
2
that.
different
No.
things because we're
And
saying
in America,
you're saying the
abolitionists
church
were
when they
here.
were
Christian.
talking about abolishing slavery, no,
Okay.
the reason why is because of the riots that were caused.
Okay. So what about the Ethiopian Coptic church?
No, I'm talking about, which is talking about
Yeah,
the
but why are
slavery.
you talking about this
No,
country?
no,
Well, let's
no.
talk about the Ethiopian churches. Where was the issue there? Because you're just focusing, because I'm saying it's not a part of Christianity. You can talk about what happened here, but then let's talk about the Ethiopian Coptic
I can
church.
talk
What
about
happened
here because I live here.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
But
here.
that's not representative
I
of what-
I know what I also.
Yeah. But
From
that's
my
what I'm saying.
generation, over 60 when I came
Yeah.
here, that I know what I see.
But what I'm
with my
saying to
own
you
eyes. Not
is that-
only what I've heard, because
Yeah.
I've heard from my parents. As
Yeah,
I said,
but I don't deny your experiences.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is,
that experience you went through is not representative of
No,
what
but
is in
I
the
don't-
Bible, and
I
that's
don't
why
take
I'm saying.
kindly for when someone says, "Oh, we stopped it."
Yeah,
You
but
want
that's
the proof?
no, but that's
no,
fine.
no,
but
no, because you can
let's
talk
not
about
go
William.
off
No, no,
topic.
we can talk about William Wilberforce, but there's a reason. He didn't do it for my benefit. He did it for his own benefit. He did
Yeah,
it for-
but
and the
but
others.
that's taken away of
because
what
they
Christianity.
Knew, they knew that the
is.
Industrial Revolution was going. They weren't going to need us anymore.
Yeah, but that would take us down a different
It's a
topic.
different-
but what I'm
different
saying
topic.
is,
Yeah, you're right.
I'm giving you examples of your prophet, his own words.
Because I have a
You're
lot of
talking,
I have a lot of anger that
Yes.
hopefully
but that's what I'm
this
saying.
can just come out because
But-
I said
yes. Let me get your email or something, and we can maybe.
no, I don't have an email address, but I can give you my number. Or
Okay,
whatever.
we'll do it
Well
after
done.
this.
What a soldier, no
yeah,
email.
we'll do
No,
it
no,
after this.
no,
When
no,
we
that's
finish. When we finish.
Funny enough, I used to work.
But
for
what I'm
people.
saying, this animosity, like if I feel it's displaced, because if you even look at the Islamic things that the black people have, look at Libya now. You can go and buy black slaves. You can go to many.
But are they
Saudi-
Muslims
Yes.
or they're Arabs? How do you know?
Because
Because
Islam,
I just said to you,
Islam
no, no,
permits
no.
it, and this is what
No,
I'm
no,
saying.
no,
if
no,
we
no, no.
discuss,
Because
we can
I'm
look
just
at the
saying
sources.
to you, I would not say that about a Christian.
Yes,
Because the way the Christian teaching doesn't teach it,
But I've-
the European, they're opposite.
but I've
So-
given you.
So I wouldn't.
But I've given you two
and they
quotes from your
well,
prophet.
They use the Bible. You can use as much quote as you can.
But then Islam is based
as I
on.
said, you've
what
given
the-
me the two,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going to go and research
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it.
Well,
This is
we
what
can
I'm
dialogue.
saying.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason why I don't make comments about the Bible because
Yeah.
I've not read the
No,
Bible.
that's
I've read
fine.
little bits and
Yeah, yeah,
pieces, so it'd be unfair for me to make a comment about the Bible.
Yeah.
And likewise, if you've only read a little bit of the Quran,
Yes. But
you would just meet me 2 minutes ago.
but just in conclusion,
how
what
you
I
can,
will
how you
say-
can know me?
But all I'll say in conclusion is that you need to come back to the true teachings of the Bible, not what you've seen from
Well,
the church.
I am reading the Bible more. I am
not
actually
what
reading
you've
the Bible
seen
more.
from the church, but what is the actual teaching? Because that is what Christianity is, the teachings of Christ.
As I said, I've always had a problem from a child, and I told you, with this, Jesus is God.
Yeah. Well,
So even when it doesn't, to me, no, I could never accept whether I went to Islam or not.
Yeah.
Because as I said, in my training, I studied Buddhism and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I could not accept Jesus
why
as
not?
God, because God is God. God cannot die. His creation cannot kill him.
Okay.
God cannot come down to a physical. As I said to you, if he's going to sit beside somebody, that means there's two of them.
So let me ask you a question. What is the greatest thing Allah has done for you?
No. Don't worry about what Allah's done.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my experience. Because I said I'm new
So-
I'm new
Okay,
into this.
into Islam.
But what I'm saying to you,
Yeah.
I'm over 60,
Yeah.
and I was a Christian, and I never felt part of it.
Yeah.
I didn't accept it. I accepted that there was a God, but I never accepted Jesus was a God.
Yeah.
It never made sense to me.
Yeah. So would it make? Doesn't make sense that
Because
God?
but again,
Yeah.
don't worry about, say, the Muslim, because even
Okay,
within
but
certain
you-
Christians, they don't believe it. Does the Jehovah's Witness believe that he's God? No. But you will tell them, say they're not Christians.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain sects within Christianity that have
But the
different
thing is,
thinking.
what did the apostles and the disciples and Paul believe?
How many years
Paul
afterwards?
wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. So this is why we have to look at why
So
did
why
Christ.
so much variation in the Bibles? The church have one section of the church have this Bible. There's bits of the gospel missing.
Yeah. But then
What is it also that in the four gospels? Because I said I'm not learning on this kind of subject,
Yeah.
but why does it say according to? If you write a book, you put your name.
Whose name is on the Quran?
Huh?
Whose name is on the Quran?
What do you mean? Whose
name?
On the Quran?
Who wrote the
Nobody's
Quran?
name on the
Oh,
Quran.
so but you said if you write a book,
No,
you put
but
the
I'm
name.
talking about the gospel, because when you look at the gospel, it says, doesn't it say according
The
to?
gospel according to Mark, the gospel according to Matthew.
So when it says
Yeah.
according to, what does that mean?
that means he said it.
No.
Yes.
It's a-
You
no,
can
no, no.
say, according to Kay, Iblis
no,
was
no,
called
no,
a
no,
black
no,
man
because
by
what we have to
Muhammad.
realize is that no
Because
one
he
had
was.
any issue with the
Ishaq
gospel
243.
until Islam came along.
No, why
No,
do you say that?
There was no historical
No,
evidence to
because
support.
How long ago did
Listen-
Islam
listen to what
come?
I'm saying.
1400 years?
600 years after Christianity.
Right. But
But there was no
there
one.
was always this problem between Christianity before Islam even
Listen,
came.
even in the Quran, it says that Allah has
Right.
given
No,
the
so you're telling me the Christian scholars that write about the Bible are influenced by the Muslim?
the modern day scholars.
No, not even the modern day scholars.
Yeah, there's no historical person because we look at the writings of the church fathers, the earliest people who wrote about Christianity
Listen,
and
I need
whatnot.
to go. I need to go.
That's
But
fine.
I would, if I can, it's 2 o'clock to start up here. Or-
Yeah, about 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I've got to go and deal with my mum. Because
But
I'm coming
all
away
I'm
from
saying
Stockwell.
is don't deny your salvation. You know, look deeply.
I'm looking, as I said,
Yeah.
at the moment,
That's right.
Muslim and Islam
Yeah.
sits with me from what I'm learning and from what I've been
Yeah, because I
And
mean,
can tell
we can have a
something.
nice dialogue, and I've enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah,
You know,
because
and
when I'm with Christians,
Yeah.
maybe I have my own problems. Maybe
Yeah,
it could be this.
of course, I can see
but
what
I
it is.
I never felt comfortable.
yeah, because
The Muslims
with you,
don't-
I think you're putting when you came to this country the issues that you had, and it's a valid critique, and I think it's something that we do need to look into because your experience has also alienated you from this core belief because you believe it's influenced. How can these Christians, so-called Christians, act in this certain way if they are following the Bible? And that is a very valid question, and a lot of people do
As I said,
feel like
since
that
I've embraced
experience.
Islam, I've changed my perspective on that, and I'm saying to you, now, I don't say, oh, just Christians, because just because somebody does something, I have to look, and if a Christian, yeah. So what do you think I was? A Christian?
Yeah, because you.
No.
Paperboy.
No.
Yeah.
My mother and father are Christian, the children them are Christian, even my wife are Christian. But
You're not a Rasta?
No. What me a Rasta? What you know about Rasta?
Haile Selassie.
No, what you know about Rasta?
A good friend of mine's a Rasta.
No, what you know about Rasta?
What do I know about it?
Yeah. No, man.
Soko. Get me off that. I don't know.
No, because everybody thinks, you know, the first Rasta, he didn't even have locks.
So I heard.
It was a bald head. There was a reason why this movement
Big
started.
up the bald head.
But the reason why I didn't join this movement, because there's no way I could accept Selassie as God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this-
that's a bit of a...
But no, because what happened in that part of the country, I can tell you. Because you see, when I was a child, there's no way I could say I'd be a Rasta. It wouldn't be accepted. But because of what the English had done, they wanted to break away. That's why they formed that kind of thing. It was to free us from this slavery. But I never subscribed to it. I never subscribed to it. But
Yeah.
it was nice talking to
Yeah,
you,
you
Paperboy.
too. We'll continue
But I
the
would look
dialogue.
at
But
I
if
would
you
do
can,
research, and I said,
yeah, if you can come down again.
no.
Don't worry, he's gonna come
I
back.
don't have nothing. No,
Because-
no,
because I
it's not
can
a
see-
matter of come back. I've got nothing
Yeah.
against Christianity.
But the thing is,
When I look at the word of Jesus, if everybody lived by that, it's okay. But when you check the behavior of people that claims to be Christian, you have also in the Muslim. When you look at some of their behavior, you're thinking, right, I turned the other way. So what I do now, I don't look at another person. I don't look at you as a Christian. I look at you as a Muslim. I'm
But
starting
you
to
have to
read the
look at-
Bible. I read my Quran, and I follow that because you're the same as me. You can make mistakes.
but when I read that the Quran says the Christians and the Jews are the worst of creatures,
okay.
you didn't
But
respond
look,
to that.
from my point of view, the way they behave,
I don't know what you're
they are the
So
worst
you
of
think
creatures.
so you think me, him, this
No,
person, that person?
But as I said, I don't know you to say that you or him. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but remember, this is the words of Allah's not saying you need to know me. It's saying categorically, me just being a Christian or someone being a Jew, they are the worst of mankind. Period.
Well, by the behavior by the so-called Christians and Jews, and
Yeah.
with what the Jews.
But that statement is a blanket statement. Not even
Well-
a portion of people is saying everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
And is that something you can like sit well in your heart to say?
Yeah.
Before
your whole family,
No, before
your whole family is the worst of creatures. That's what it's
But are
saying.
they really Christians though?
Your family, your mum, your wife.
Well, this is the discussion we're having because again, behavior.
Yeah.
Now,
So do they-
my
are they-
children can
Yeah.
see.
So
that-
your children are worst of mankind as well.
No. What
But
I'm
that's what
saying-
your Quran is saying.
Well, I have to look into that.
Okay, I'll give you the verse
Oh,
so
yeah,
you can look
give me the
into
reference,
it.
yeah, give him the reference. And also maybe the features in the mind as well from the hadith. Maybe he'd like to also see that.
No, this is another thing that before I go.
So this is 98 Al-Bayna,
Sorry?
verse 6.
98 what?
98 6. So indeed, they who disbelieved amongst the people of the scripture and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell, abiding eternity therein. These are the worst of creatures.
Yeah.
What's the
But
creation?
that's translation. So I have
Translation.
to get someone
All the
That's
translations
right.
say
But
the
take
same
the
thing.
reference and then go.
Yeah, you can
look
look
for it
through it.
yourself.
I'm going to say something to you. I lost my train of
Because
thought.
that means your children, your wife, your mum, they're all the worst of. And every day you look at them, you have to understand that they're the worst of mankind.
Will you? Oh, okay.
I lost my train of thought now.
Because Christ never said those kind of words. And we have to look at how can you have someone like Christ and then someone like Muhammad afterwards. Because if you
That's what
compare,
I say. So you see me, how I am operating. When I see somebody
yeah,
take from this to justify this, I'm suspicious of them. You must come with your truth.
yeah,
If it's
You,
white people,
no, no, no.
no,
No, you
white
must.
people, devils.
If it's with white devils.
You must come with your truth. I don't have to show you this man's weak
Yeah.
point.
yeah,
I use myself as an example. So when I start to say, oh, because this man do this and this man, you know what?
yeah.
You switch me off automatically.
Too wrong.
Your Bible and your behavior should be your standard.
Yes.
Not to pinpoint, oh, because regardless, forget about Muslim, because as soon as you say Muslim, as soon as you say Christian, you separate.
But the whole point is, you saying that, look at the thing. But then when you were talking about your experiences in this country, and I kept saying, let's look at what the Bible was saying. So then you should apply that same understanding
But
to understanding
my
the teaching
experience,
of the Bible.
hold
Because
on,
now
hold on.
you're
my
jumping.
experience is
Yeah.
my experience. Nobody gonna tell
Yes.
me what I go through or what I didn't go through.
I didn't say that, and I didn't deny that. I
So-
said your experience does not reflect what is in the Bible, because you said let's build
So what
upon
I'm
what is
saying-
in the text.
So that's what I'm saying. Are those people before that claim to be Christian, they weren't Christians?
I'm saying let's
No,
look
no,
at the.
no, no,
I'm
no.
saying
What
let's
I'm
look.
saying-
No, but let me respond. I'm saying let us look at the criteria of the Bible and then compare what they are doing to what the Bible says. Then we can know whether they are acting as a true Christian or not. That's the. You have to go from the foundation. Unless you have a
But
foundation, you
for
have
me,
nothing to
I
judge
have to
on.
read the whole Bible.
Okay.
I have to read the whole Bible, but you have to be fair, and then you have to also read the Quran.
Yes.
And then when you read the Quran, then you can say, oh, is this person acting according to the Quran?
But that's not
What-
my
what-
argument, because I always brought you references from the Prophet. So unless you're saying your Prophet goes against the Quran, then you're out of Islam, because you have to follow the Sunnah of your Prophet. I didn't appeal to. I didn't appeal to outside people. I appealed to what your Prophet said and did. Yeah.
No, because again, anybody can read what they want to read
No, because
and twist it and use it for what they want.
No, but that's why I gave you the references and said
Look,
go
look.
and
When it
look.
comes to you like Shamsi, you can't deal with it.
okay.
With who?
No, say your question, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not the.
Nice to talk.
Where you from?
Oh, okay. But say your question off camera.
Yeah.
When it comes to other people, he deals with them.
I agree with Shamsi.
You've been
Bro,
alright.
Shamsi,
Nice discussion.
you know how it is with Shamsi, bro.
Cool, Sokka says, Shamsi, don't run. You guys play too much mental gymnastics. You guys like playing
Say he was going to give you a
All right. Yeah.
So that was a interesting conversation had with Desmond. Paperboy never plays games.
Guys, one question off camera.
Are you playing games? Yeah.
Just one question.
What's the question? Hey, Scamsy.
Is his name actually Paperboy?
Yes, I'm
All
a
right. So what's
passport.
your question?
What's the
Come on
No, I don't
question?
want to be rude, so I'm not sure.
now. No,
Yeah, what's the
Paperboy.
question?
You're Christian, right?
Yeah.
So, I just want to ask one simple question.
All right.
Who did Jesus pray to?
Who did
The
he
Father.
pray to the Father?
And okay, who's the father?
The Father is the Father of
Okay, is Jesus
Christ.
the father?
No.
Do you want to see what's
Yeah,
the
but
father?
doesn't-
In the Trinity.
It's yes.
Yeah.
Don't Matthew.
Jesus the father, right?
No, it's the
No.
son.
Jesus is the Son
Of the Father.
Jesus is the begotten Son of the
I
Father.
think it's
But
in
is he
Mark
not the
10,
father?
11.
No, Jesus is God.
Yeah.
The Father is God, and the Holy Spirit is God. But Jesus is not.
Can I
the
ask you a
Father.
question? Can I ask you a question now? Yeah, you know when Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala descends to the lowest heaven to listen to your prayers,
Yeah.
who's left in the throne to run the universe?
a good question. I haven't done my research. I've got to look into it.
Okay.
I've got to look into it. But that is interesting. I know about the hadith saying.
Okay, I've got a question as well.
Further than that, he comes down.
Yeah.
and he descends to-
I've got a
He does.
question.
Okay.
When Allah prays for your prophet, who is he praying to?
Cool.
Where do you pray
You're
to?
asking question to him.
Yeah, of course. It's a dialogue.
It's a dialogue.
Can-
No,
can
no,
I-
it's fine. It's fine.
We don't want to trick anyone.
Give me the
It's
verse.
an honest
Can I ask
question.
you something?
I'll
Ask him,
go
I'll
and
go
research.
and
Research.
Ask
Banging,
him,
banging,
ask
banging,
you.
banging.
Okay, let me just give him the verse.
Give him some references so you can go and research.
What surah is this in?
Yeah, let me just get it for you.
Yeah, so you can go and research.
Can we talk about the Bible, guys?
Talk
as well.
about whatever you want.
Apparently, Jesus prays to himself.
Why?
No, to the Father. We never say to himself, to the
No,
Father.
but how did he pray?
Is
You
the
asked
Father
him,
God?
who
The
did
Father
he
is
pray?
God.
What
And
about
Jesus
how
is
did
the
he
Father of
pray?
God.
My brother.
No, Jesus' son. His son. He's his son.
Yeah, how did he
Come
pray?
on, man, this is too much confusion. Well, if you come up to a normal person in the street and you sit and you try to explain the Trinity, it makes no sense to them. How do you expect people to convert to Christianity when it makes no sense?
Because God, I mean, to actually describe God is difficult, isn't it? Because God, like the Quran says, Islam says that Allah is unlike any
Yeah, he's unlike. I
creation.
agree. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the only way we can describe God is the way it's been described in the scriptures. Which is one God, in essence, three persons.
Talks,
That's how it's been revealed.
Just use the Quran to explain the Bible, like, to explain the Trinity. That's not how it works.
Because we can say the same with Allah.
Yeah.
I can see you busy now.
No, I'm just getting the Quranic verse. All right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're
Next time
welcome.
down.
Yeah, God says it's not a Trinity.
In
God
Islam,
says it's not a Trinity.
no. He says say not three, but then you have to three times do this three times. I'm just asking.
See, look. Okay, so
Right,
it's Quran.
Okay.
It's 33:56. It says, "Surely Allah and His angels shall pray on the Prophet. O you who have believed, pray for benediction on him and submit in full submission."
I have to do my research. I have to do my research.
You want it in Arabic? Okay, let me
Because
just
you
get
have
it
to
for
remember,
you.
yeah, as well.
Can you read
Can you
Arabic?
read Arabic, yeah? Oh, cool.
I have to do my research as well.
Okay, so I've got two things for you to read in Arabic then.
Okay, cool.
I'll give you this.
So you can fact check at home as well.
He wants to
No,
know
no,
from the
but
Bible. He's asking
you
you.
gotta
You
press the
already asked
button.
him
You
now.
Christians believe that.
Let him ask you now. One.
Omnipotent.
I thought you were gay.
Omnipresent.
Most great.
You're
No,
following
oh,
Boy.
powerful. Yeah, yeah.
That's what you
I'm fine, I
said.
got 5 more minutes. That's all.
What,
Let's just let him get this Arabic.
so when he was a baby, was he all powerful?
Oh, he was a baby. He was a baby. He was a human
Okay,
being.
yeah, that's the.
No, only the phone.
The Arabic.
This one.
Yeah.
Read it.
Is there a play like?
God's
Huh?
nature?
You'd have to ask God. I believe so.
Okay, that literally does not make sense to me.
That's fine.
Oh, you want to play it?
Yeah.
Maybe God will reveal it to me.
Battery. It's in the back.
You want to say something?
No, we were talking to another guy about
No, brother,
racist stuff,
don't
and
you-
I've
don't you
pulled up
put
some stuff from the Hadith
I don't want to be
and
on
the
camera.
Quran
What are you
about black people.
You record Paperboy
Like
and you
this
can
guy.
stand here. Come on, man. Be respectful.
Actually, that's not right.
It is
Oh,
bright.
it has to. I think.
Hold on. It says Yusalluna ala Nabi. Is that not send praises to him?
Send praise.
Send praises to him. Yusalluna ala
Yeah,
Nabi.
Yasaluna.
Yusalluna ala Nabi.
Yasaluna.
That's not the same thing as worshiping.
I didn't say he worshipped. I said he praised. I didn't say he worshipped. I said he praised.
You want to use the word English praise, yeah?
No, not
What-
praise like worship.
Yes.
Praise with YS. Praise.
Yes, I
pray
didn't say
to
he
God.
worships. I said he
So
praised.
Praise.
When you're praise as in YS.
How'd you say praise?
Yes, not SE. YS.
Yusalluna ala Nabi. But in Arabic, is there
Salat.
really
I'm telling you,
Bye. Lots of love. God bless.
So, in conclusion, we started off speaking with Desmond. So he tried to highlight the things that he dislikes about Christianity, and it kind of stemmed from his experience of racism within this country. He seems to be a part of the Windrush generation, or his parents were. So I think it's obviously something Christians should kind of have an understanding of.
in terms of sometimes people's experiences cause them to leave the church, even though it's not the right reason, because the actions of the church sometimes or society is not reflective of what's in the scripture. But it's just something that people should become aware of, because we're here to address people's concerns and address topics where we feel people sometimes leave the church based on misunderstandings of what happens in the church, and you should never leave the church because of something that happened according to the church. But you should always be able to differentiate between the teachings of Christ and Christianity and the behaviors of certain people, especially if it's not reflective in the text or the teachings of Christianity. I think he had a lot of animosity towards the Christian faith because of this. Hopefully I'll speak to him, more times, but those issues he had, those issues are still very prevalent within Islamic literature, and that's why I went to the Islamic text where Muhammad called people raisin heads, where he traded 2 black slaves for 1. He compared, he said if you want to see the devil, he pointed to a black person. He said a black person would destroy the Kaaba. We see even in the Quran, on the day of resurrection, the people who are bad get turned black and the people who are good go white. So we see many, many things I didn't get to discuss with him, but we also see the impact of the Arabic slave trade, which lasted far more longer than the transatlantic slave trade, which people try and use to denigrate Christianity. But then Muslims never apologize for the Arabic slave trade. The castration of thousands of black people being made to eunuchs. We even see in Libya today, and many Arabic countries today, where black people can be sold and traded as slaves. We go to Mauritania within Africa, that still has slavery prevalent till today. So what we see is a lot of kind of whitewashing of Islamic history. And hopefully Desmond will kind of look within this, and I'm going to speak more on it as the year goes on, bring up information of the impact of the Islamic slave trade, especially within Africa, and to the detriment and the destruction of many communities. And then obviously he spoke about he didn't believe Jesus was God, but we didn't get a chance to speak on that. But the thing is, in conclusion, what people have to realize is that people's experiences within certain cultures aren't always reflective of what the Christian faith is about, and that's why I pressed him and said, okay, let's look at the Coptic Christians in Ethiopia. The same issues that they had in this country is not what they had here, especially with slavery and such. So it kind of is used to dispel the theory that Christianity is somehow synonymous with slavery and the transatlantic slave, because we can look at the Coptic Christians who go way back to the 2nd, 3rd century. So in that context, especially even the perceptions of how Christ is portrayed within imagery, it's just that we buy into a very Europeanized version, which was just reflective of the society at the time. So in conclusion, Christ is the way, the truth and the life, and we compel people just to look at what the teachings of Christ were. I wanted to compare Muhammad's life compared to Christ, because people seem to know that Christ did no wrong, but then there are many things that Muhammad did that they don't agree with, but then for some reason they believe he's a prophet after Christ. But why would you go from something perfect to something imperfect? It's like abolishing apartheid and then going back to apartheid 100 years later. No, if you've progressed, you don't go backwards. So why would God send someone like Christ, who was the epitome of the perfect human in terms of his compassion, and then go to someone like Muhammad, who did so many things wrong and that we don't agree with till today? So we have to look at it logically in that sense. So on that note, until next time.